Okay, everybody, welcome to another day of Spiritual Truth. We have a new guest today, and she has a new book called 2012. I guess she has two books, but her name is Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel. Is that right?
Yes.
And Doctor, you have two books out, Earth 2012, The Ultimate Quest, How to Find Peace in a World of Chaos. And you just said something before we went on the air. It's called what? You said takes you from chaos.
Well, the second book is Earth that just came out is Earth 2012, Time of the Awakening Soul, How Millions of People Are Changing Our Future.
Isn't that to do with the Mayan calendar or something?
Yeah, in book one, I go into a lot of the prophecies and predictions of this time, and I use 2012 as a symbology of this historic passage that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I weave even scientific predictions and what we're looking at on our planet and two roads that I distinguish that we're heading on, and I speak about the different outcomes of those choices, collective choices.
You said you can take panic to peace in minutes or something? You give people?
Well, I developed a breakthrough counseling technology and formed a whole healing system around it called The Quest. And there's a self-counseling that I lay out in book one, the Earth 2012, the Ultimate Quest book. And it's a 7-step process that can literally take you from panic to peace in minutes. And of course, I used it during the whole crash we were undergoing in the fall, and things, as things geared up.
You mean the financial crash?
Yes. So I know everybody, so many people went into a lot of stress and strain under that time, and with the Quest, I was able to get myself restored very quickly and stay in my proactive, positive self, and because of that, I was able to complete the next book and music CD and keep going.
Let me ask you, how did you become your proactive, calm, self? How did you become who you are today? Did you take your own quest, your own private quest?
Yes, I think my life's been a quest since my mother became severely ill when I was a teen, and just the level of suffering in her mental illness and losing a mother as I knew her at that time, and the huge responsibility of taking care of her and that role reversal, that compelled me on a quest, and I wanted to find things to heal her, to soothe her, to bring peace, and so that was the initial quest. It made me wonder what's at the heart of suffering. Why would my wonderful and beautiful mother, who always seemed fine, have this unexpected illness, and why do bad things happen to good people?
There you go. We ask that all the time. We have shows about that. Why do bad things happen to good people? Why do they?
What I found out is that it's not a deity that's willing hardship onto people, as some of the mythology today still says.
Like God punished
But I found in thousands of cases, 100% of the time, I trace these outer conditions, whether illness or stress, frustrations, work-related issues or relationship issues, financial, back to the subconscious. And I found this subconscious programming that was literally being projected upon the screens of people's lives and playing out scenarios of a dire nature. And I also found something else exciting. I found that that's not the core of who we are, that this programming is more of an overlay, and it's been passed generationally through our family lines, but it's not who we really are, because every time I've taken a client through the 7 steps and healed these deep patterns and core wounding and belief systems, we get back to their core self, and that's the proactive, positive self.
So are you dealing with this lifetime or many lifetimes?
Invariably, a lot of the patterns will go back.
In your cellular DNA or something?
Yeah, you can think of it either way. If you believe in reincarnation, you might think that way, or if you think it's passed down DNA-wise through the family, it's that way. But we do trace patterns back, and it's just a personal thing of how someone would want to believe around it. But
so you give them options?
Well, it's whatever their belief system is, because
Well, that's what I'm saying. Some people have a belief system, and you have to be within that belief system to get any kind of satisfaction or some sort of relief from that particular book. You have to believe in this, and you have to believe in that. you're saying your steps work whether you believe in reincarnation or you don't, or whether you believe in a deity or you
Right.
don't.
It doesn't really matter if it was a memory from an ancestor or whether it was their own embodiment. What matters is we've traced the pattern back to the core where it began, and we've healed it. We healed it in the individual, and their life circumstances changed. Not only that, we've changed their future because that pattern that was set in motion, that was rolling, that maybe brought abusive relationships or a history of financial constraint or being an A-type workaholic personality. When we heal those core patterns, it's removed from the future. So the future is really more the ideal lifestyle that people would want. And people return very quickly back to their peaceful self, that core self. And then that's the important thing that I write in the book, is that I call it the authentic self, and that this authentic self has not been very much allowed into our world. So while we have these ideals of peace on earth and harmony in our home lives and financial abundance, we're reaping something very different because of the havoc of these subconscious patterns running. And people don't know. They don't know how to determine what voice is happening inside of them. They don't know when they're driven and stressful and angry and frustrated. That's their shadow. That's the subconscious playing out. That when they're peaceful and positive and proactive, that's their authentic self. So I really say that we're coming to a very crucial time point in Earth history.
Why? Because of the 2012.
We have an increase of weapons of mass destruction. We have pandemics ready to burst out in a grand scale. We have global warming and actual islands going under the water. We're facing a lot on the planet today with increase of crime and all of the things that are going on. And these are all a reflection of what's happening in the psyche of humanity. And if the human world could just focus inwardly and add that to the equation, really tend to their inner worlds and heal these patterns and allow the authentic self to be more in the equation of their lives more often, bringing its vision and manifesting its ideals, we would really shift the world around very quickly. And I think that's one of the most important things in my book.
How reasonable do you think that is? I mean, do you really think that's going to happen? I mean, as a realist, and I understand everything you're saying because what I do is talk to people who have your ideas
Right.
in a spiritual realm all day long. But I find it's really difficult to get a lot of people to listen to what you've just said. How do you get them to listen?
I think that I think that with the stock market crash, more people are seeking answers and wanting to delve deeply, just like my own personal challenges in my life caused me to delve deeper. One of the things was 2 heart attacks I had within 6 months, and an incurable heart virus that I was told could debilitate me quickly to death. So it's sometimes these wake-up calls that put us on a quest. And
that's you, though.
Go deeper for the answers and also for healing.
So that's you, and you're awfully young to have heart attacks but I guess
I was at that time, and I definitely was a shake-up of my world, but it was really emotionally based, and it was a very heartbreaking marriage that I was in, and I was doing all the spiritual formulas on the planet of literally bypassing my feelings and staying up in a higher state of mind, a more loving, peaceful state of mind, and it went physical. These unhealed, unheard upsets within me and broken heart went into a physical heart condition.
It's dis-ease. It's dis-ease, which then causes disease.
Yeah.
But then with 2012 coming, I guess what I'm trying to ask you is, I mean, I know I have all these great reviews on your book. There's like 17 pages here of all your press kit and stuff, and all these people say it's a wonderful book and well written, and you won some prestigious book awards and all that. So I would suggest people get it. I've not read the book. However, it was interesting enough for the girls to put it in front of me. They found it interesting. But what I would ask you is, there's a lot in here. It's sort of every so often, it's like 2012. What about 2012? You're one of the first people that I've been able to talk to about it that makes sense to me. I mean, I can understand what you're saying, actually. Some people get a little too lofty and too outer spacey.
Right.
So what?
Well, I think I use the word 2012 to denote that we're in a critical time period on Earth, and I think
Why different than any other bad time? Why? That's why I want you, when you say those
I think
business.
It's the increase of technologies without heart.
Thank you.
We've kept our subconscious patterns running of greed and avarice and getting ahead of the other guy, so we haven't emotionally gone along with our technology. So what we're seeing is we have these advanced technologies that could literally, we push a button and half the world's gone today, and yet we don't have the emotional maturity to handle this level of technology. So we are dealing with a crux in time that we have to grow up. It's time to go into this last frontier, which I believe is the psyche, which is the inner world. We need to tend to these patterns finally and lay them to rest and stop this perpetuation of war and decimation of other cultures and of the earth itself. The times are calling for it.
Do you think 2012, the Mayan prediction, I mean, we've been hearing about 2012 since I was a child, and
right.
And now it's just right around the corner, a couple of years away.
Yeah. Will the world come to an end in 2012?
Oh, I don't, I've heard every version you can think of. Imagine that. I mean, please, I heard from we're going to blow up till it's going to be, Aquarius, that song in the musical here, which is now returned to Broadway. We've come full circle. I've heard every theory you can imagine, believe me. And it is interesting that the Mayan calendar ended at 2012. There have been, speculation that the Mayans ended as well. That's why it ended at 2012. Or there's just other things. So what is your theory on the 2012? I mean, I personally think there's too much technology. We've forgotten how to feel. When you read an email, sometimes people misunderstand emails. Many times I've had it done to me, where they think I'm either angry or I'm really happy with them, or maybe even flirting with them, or dressing them down. Anything you can imagine, I've been accused of, and as many people have. Because you just say what you're thinking, you can't hear the inflection, do you know? Or I've missed meetings or parties, weddings, funerals, you name it. I've missed a lot of things via the internet, and now these Twitters and Facebooks, and it's so much information, and it's so narcissistic. I'm sorry to say that, but
yeah, definitely. I think the 2012 question is something that is getting people's attention, and maybe that's a good thing because it is causing people to delve a little bit into the prophecies and the scientific predictions. There's been so much said about this time, from the Indian nations to the Al Gore, and some of these incredible films that are coming out. I do think that it will be an interesting year, and there's some astrological configurations that might give some kind of a shift that
people will get nicer and get friendly. I mean, I've heard that too. The white buffalo was supposed to be born.
I think that is happening though, but I'm not sure that we'll have one day of that year, and then everyone's going to be smiling, and we're in a European society. I think that some people are predicting that we're going down to 0 point, and we're going to shift in consciousness. I do speak a lot of the shifted consciousness in Book 2, Time of the Awakening Soul. It's but the way I see it is that there are millions of people right now that I've cataloged, and I've given them a special signature that are literally undergoing a shift in values and an awakening process today. And
so you're doing research study?
I did research and studies, and based on some other people's research as well, Anderson and Ray, that there is this subculture emerging. And what was really interesting is it was prophesied by the Indian nations. All of the nations individually had a prophecy that at this time of Travail, when the earth was kind of falling under the weight of pollution, and some world wars had happened, that these people would be born throughout the earth. And they called them the Rainbow Warriors, and they used the name Rainbow because of the different culture and colors,
Yes, I know about them. Yeah. And it was after the white buffalo. But it was the white buffalo had to be born first, which happened about 13, 14 years ago, and then it would happen.
But I think these people, have been born before that. I mean, I see that largely in the 60s we started feeling their impact.
Really?
And yes, with the birth of the human potential movement and all the return to the natural, natural foods and conscious parenting, and I list all those movements in the second book. And I also put in the second book the 22 master qualities of these people, and I call them the violet people. I know that sounds kind of out there, but the violet ray that we're kind of getting into in healing instruments and science and physics is really a high vibratory ray. It's really a transmutation and transformation and high healing kind of frequency. And so these people, to me, seemed violet because they're very much interpersonal as well as planetary transformation. They are tending to their inner worlds. They are caring about the planet. So it's kind of a dual consciousness where they're wrestling with their patterns and striving to become more conscious, and it birthed all these spiritual movements, and all the new psychology was born, and all of these things, and even Starbucks on every corner, I think, to keep them all going. It's a really interesting race of people, and Anderson and Ray did a study for 13 years, and they brought it out in their book, Cultural Creatives, and they spoke of this shift in values that was so dramatic. And they
What are the shift in values so dramatic? Because I'm getting lost here. Starbucks threw me. I'm not understanding why Starbucks is important.
I just threw that in.
Oh.
That was just a joke.
Oh, I'm like, okay, what? Okay.
Well, I mean, we birthed a lot of, this culture birthed a lot of things. And there's been a whole resurgence of caring for the environment and all these different movements. But also, it's a very driven kind of a focus, and that's why I threw in the joke about Starbucks on every corner.
To me, Starbucks means the internet kids with more money than they needed, and they stopped doing internet stuff and bought coffee houses, and they knew that. So my generation thinks of Starbucks as, the tech generation. That's when all those merged. Coffee houses were the beatnik generation of my mother's generation, and Starbucks is the generation, it's another generation. It's the geeks turn. Remember that movie, Revenge of the Nerds?
Oh, yeah, that's so interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, when I thought, that's why I was taking it seriously, because there were the beatniks when they were very serious, and Joan Baez was singing, and my mother was on to all that stuff. And, then we were born, and then you had the 60s, and Jane Fonda, who's now wearing her mugshot on T-shirts, and she did all that. Now as I said, coffee houses to me are nothing more. Every time I walk by one, I think internet. I think Washington. I think Bill Gates. I think,
Yeah, part of this. Yeah.
Their culture. Yeah,
but which also connected us all, and I think that one of the exciting things is that information can go so fast these days. People can really educate themselves on everything or anything under the sun in the privacy of their own homes via their computer and internet, and it has connected people, and it's helped form these groups, because I say in there's more than 144,000 groups and businesses and projects, focused on positive planetary change today. And I think the internet, has served that. But as we go with that, I see a lot of people are
misusing.
As we're advancing technology, why is there still, wars and all these problems? And people can't understand. I think humanity thought as we, gain these technologies, we'd be moving into peace. And what I bring over and over again in my book and A Way Out is, no, we haven't tended to our inner world, and these patterns, these subconscious patterns, these warlike patterns that cause us to argue with our loved ones, and then the bigger wars as well, those need to be healed and addressed, and they never have in the known history of man. And so you see society after society, millennia upon millennia, people have strived for peace, they've longed for peace, they've dreamt of a utopian society, but never ever manifested it, no matter how much wealth, how much
Do you think we can get
advancement.
Do you think we can reach this society?
I see both ways. I started really seeing things when I was a teen and awake, and I became more conscious and more of a conscious steward of my life and world because of it. I saw that there were two paths before us, that we really could go into a more breakdown, destruction path, and that is very real, and there's a lot of predictions and prophecies about that, and not just from seers and Edgar Cayce and all that, but scientists as well and doctors. Or, you know, we have the choice to keep going into this awakening, and we have the millions of people that are awakening, that care about the planet, that have a vision of a transformed world, and are pouring their energies into positive planetary change on
well, maybe they'll survive.
peace and level.
Maybe they'll be the ones that survive, and the other ones won't.
Well, I hope there's prophecies around that too, but for me, I know there's a lot of people that want to see it all break down so we can have a new, fresh world, but supposedly we already did that when Atlantis went down, 12,500 years ago, and whether that's mythology or not, is still encoded in the minds of humanity as a continent and high civilization that went down. And then we went from, basics all the way back up, and it took us 12,500 years to get to this point in time again. For me personally, I don't feel like I came all this way and went through everything I did and to bring out this important piece for humanity, for it all to break down and us to be living on the mountainsides, shooting deer and trying to forage for apples. I mean, let's take the world into a better place, but we have to all lend a hand.
Okay, so how do we do that? Because right about now, we need to give people some inspiration.
Yeah.
So now, is that what you do in your books and your music videos and stuff?
I have my books are very positive. They touch on everything, but I was told I was one of 3 authors on the 2012 subjects that were positive and showed a positive future we're moving to. I believe it's within our reach, and that's why I'm lending my help with the quest. I think the quest and inner work is the missing piece, and I'm excited about that technology because I've seen what it's done with addicts and youth at risk. It's like
what technology?
The quest.
There's a technology that accompanies the title Quest. The Quest.
No, the counseling theory and practice I developed, which is like NLP psychosynthesis. That's a counseling theory and practice.
Okay.
I formed around that a whole healing system, and basically I train through the Institute of Advanced Healing. I train and certify counselors, but I also giving it to the lay person.
Now, where is this Institute of Advanced Healing?
The Institute's in Hawaii. We're Hawaii-based, and it has a global mission of bringing the quest out worldwide, and through our graduates in our ongoing programs. And
where do you find your graduates, and what do they do? Let's say I'm still not quite sure. So I want to find out whatever this quest is. So I want to talk to one of your graduates. Do we call them doctors? Are they psychologists, or what do they do?
It's just at the early stages where we have some people in training in the 2-year training. The 2-year training is the Quest Master Counselor and Spiritual Leadership Training, and they are certified after the 2 years, which is a pretty comprehensive program.
By whom?
And that includes apprenticeship. Once they're graduate, they are under spiritual counseling or religious counselors with the quest, and they life coach and they counsel. They can also opt to open up a chapter of our institute in their respective area.
But who allows them to do this? The state? Or do they get licensed? Are they? I mean, what? So someone called and said, "Well, how do we know? I mean, if we recommended them, or you recommend them, are they subject to the law of the land?"
When they do that, we'll be it would be a chapter of our institute. Our institute's a nonprofit religious organization.
So like the Agape movement, kind of like.
Yeah, it's like sending out ministers, but we don't call them ministers. We just call them Master Quest counselors because their focus is on, psychological healing of, and helping life coach people to live better lives. So they are more often in their authentic selves, and when their issues come up, they're working really quickly to heal them. So it's really a mastery path I teach, and all the counselors that are the people that are in the program they actually are on a very accelerated kind of track of not only mastering counseling, but their own self-counseling and how to be a master of their own psychology and not give way and be run by these patterns, but actually be an exemplary example to their future students and clients, and so that it's a very high degree of mastery that they have when they graduate. So
And
this is really exciting for me because, it's now happening, and eventually I see the Quest University where we'll be able to bring in counselors from prisons and rehab centers. And
okay, but can I stop you there, please? Can I stop you and ask you, where did you get all this? Is this your information? I mean, the Quest. I mean, is this something you came upon when you were, and
I developed it.
You developed it by what, meditation? It just came to you, or?
No, it's just I did years of training and research and mastered. I have like over 35 certificates and degrees in alternative medicine, holistic health, psychology. My bachelor's, master's, PhDs in psychology. And after I received during my master's program, I was further really focusing on developing this counseling theory and practice. I had been working on that before of a healing system that could help people get right to the core of issues and heal them very fast and within minutes, like I said, go from panic to peace or full stress or anger to peace. After I graduated with my doctorate in psychology, I went on to do pioneering work in the psyche. I proved my theories in thousands of cases with to myself and the research that I was doing of finding a way, can we get right to the heart of these conditions that are happening in people's lives, and can we heal them by, addressing the core patterning. And so I made many landmark discoveries and perfected this, and then it was when I set up the Institute of Advanced Healing in 2000 to bring it out worldwide, but I was still continuing after that to perfect it in a way that I could not only train counselors and train psychologists and doctors and practitioners as well as, the master counselors under our institute, but also the layperson, because I felt it was really important to give it to everybody.
Okay, so what kind of people come to your classes? I mean, are these people, can they just start out, they first have to come there and they have to learn their inner knowledge, and they have to go from panic to peace. They have to learn how to really do that in their own lives, right? And so do they have to be psychologists?
In the 2-year program, I support them in doing that, yes. That's one of the levels of mastery they have available to attain, and which is important. Yeah, that's why when somebody's in a 2-year training with me, I do a lot of life coaching and counseling with them and teaching them how to get right to it within 24 hours when they have an upset, and then they have the 7 steps that they do their own self-counseling. And so there's, a lot of depth to the program. So it's a mastery path as well as, them being certified, and being certified on our institute, they can then minister to people around the world. But I have a shorter program, a more accelerated, available for psychologists and life coaches and training, so that because they're already trained, just to train them in the Quest method.
Okay,
and
so
I like.
Go ahead. I just want to ask you.
So it's my ideal scene is in the future. The Quest is in rehab centers and addiction programs.
Yeah, we get it. You're going to be like, it'll be all over, and it's going to be important. Here's what I want to ask you about something like
Peace, yeah.
Yeah, peace, miracles. It says, working with countless clients over many years, you've had miraculous results. Can you give us some of those? What that means? Some examples.
But I found that when we heal these patterns, our lives can change very quickly. Now, that can mean you're dealing with something and it clears right up, or the relationship clears right up miraculously, or you're on a little bit of a journey and you take piece by piece by piece and then it clears up. I've seen a lot of things. To narrow it down, I worked with a woman on and off over a year, maybe once a month, sometimes twice a month. And she had a very severe history of abuse, from really severe abuse as a little girl, then had a husband that was abusive. And the point I met her, he was now an ex-abusive, and he was an abuser. Plus, she had a boyfriend that was alcoholic and abusive, and her son was abusive.
So we do that
abused,
pattern. We usually follow that. People you can usually find they follow that pattern. Yeah.
Yeah, and I found that what kept her drawing in. So the type of person she would fall in love with would be the alcoholic abuser.
Mm-hmm.
So when you understand that, and you can isolate the part in them that's that magnet that's actually drawing those experiences in, when you heal that part of them, the subconscious components to that changes.
Let me ask you, how did you change that? How would you change that? Because
that's my whole life's work is delving in the psyche and finding out how to isolate these parts that are creating these things in our lives and healing them. And in her case, we changed the whole pattern.
And that's
moving 5,000 miles away from her abusive ex, got out of the abusive relationship with her boyfriend, and put her son in a rehab camp thing for half a year, and he was rehabilitated. And she went on to marry a wonderful man that was not alcoholic or abusive, because we had broken the pattern. We had changed her future. That's why, I always say about the quest, when you heal your life, you change your destiny. You literally change your future. And things that people have thought were incurable, I found are curable.
Like
Addictions, like this woman that was drawing in abuse. You see people do that their whole lives.
Mm-hmm.
But I found out how to stop it and how to get them onto another track and into another life. A better life where they have healthy relationships. And all by going in and healing the subconscious wounding and the patterning that just keeps drawing in like a magnet.
Does a quest always work? I mean, your method?
Every session there's a big healing in every session. The part that they're dealing with, the subconscious, what I call an inner aspect, and other people call subconscious personalities, but the part of them that's all upset when they come in, that is directly related to what they're dealing with, whether financial or relationship or whatever, that part's healed that day. So whatever we work with is healed in the session.
Let me ask you.
There's a shift.
What if they, but they have to want to be healed to come to, because if some people don't want to be healed, but they don't even know they're sick.
Right.
So
that's the thing, there's, it's somebody that
is that the shift?
Sick of it all, and they seek help, right?
No, but I'm saying people have all these predictions. There's a shift coming. Will everyone finally realize they need some sort of help? Everyone knows if you have a cold or you have the flu, you go to the doctor. If you have a broken leg, you go to the doctor. So if someone knows they have an abused husband, or their husband abused them, their boyfriend and their son, they know something's wrong, so they seek you out, right? So that's pretty basic. I'm trying to look at this press stuff and say that you've got this whole new way of thinking and way of healing, and you're putting it out there in books. You're the only one writing positive books. You have the awards here. I'm just saying, and you say there's a shifting. So would this shifting occur so that everybody just sort of starts getting it? Because only so many people will admit they're sick. You can tell the people, don't do it or go get help, and they're not going to do it. What do you do with those people?
That's why I feel on fire with this. I'm on fire to bring this knowledge that I've gained from all my questing and pioneering work in the psyche and the things I've discovered. I'm excited because humanity's still operating under a lot of mythology. People still think that when bad things happen to them, it's God punishing them.
Mm-hmm.
And deep down, people have these core beliefs that they're sinners and bad. And so they...
Or it's their karma.
Yeah, or it's their karma, and I've never found that in one case. And I'm not
okay,
saying
there
I
you
don't believe in God. I am saying I have never found in thousands of cases on myself, my family, and my clients, delving deep in their psyches, when I got to the core of why they were having the problem, I never found a God or a devil doing it, or that it was their karma.
Well,
I found 1,000% of the time, I found, no, it's subconscious programming that passed down the lineage. Like, let's say I have European lineage. I'm Italian. I found in my lineage two things, two huge patterns that were creating suffering in my life. Number one, from the European caste that my family were in, they had a belief system of, well, we have to work hard. We have to work hard for a living, and life's not easy, and it's a struggle. Why? Because they came over with $17 on the boat to America, and they had to forge a new life. So they had these hard work ethics, and back from, more ancient times in Europe. So I've had to clear all that to be able to have more abundance easier, because this was a subconscious pattern running in me that, is just on go and manifesting more.
So
of
why
that.
would you say it's not your karma? Because people, this is just me asking questions. This isn't me disagreeing. Honest to God, I enjoy your conversation.
Right.
Someone's going to say, but that's your karma, because a lot of people are stuck on talking about karma.
No, I never found that. I feel like there's a natural kind of karma thing that they're talking about. Like, if you run around negative all day and you're mean to people, of course you're going to be like generating bad experiences for yourself, right? I mean, if we go on a negative path, like using drugs and alcohol, and we start yelling and screaming at our mates and behaving out of our shadow or negative side, of course, that's like simple mathematics. We're not going to have people smiling at us and bestowing gifts. When you're in your positive, proactive self, everyone knows how much magic there is when you're running around and you're smiling and you're positive. It's like, the right parking place is there, the attendant at the door races over, carries your bag. I mean, there's help, and people are helpful, and there's positive. So that's natural energetics. But as for a karma that in your past life you were a mean murderer or whatever, and now in this life you have to suffer, I never found that.
There's some people out there who teach karma are going to be really going, what?
I know, I'm really sorry.
That's okay, I love it. I'm laughing.
And I'm a scientist. I'm sorry. I delved into these things. I didn't just read books and what people told me. I went to find the truth, and that's been my quest. And I care about the truth and what is really happening. And I found that it's scary, but these patterns will keep going. And the problem with the karma ideology is people really think that when they're going through something hard, that they've
earned it.
That they've burned it, and it's done, and scarily enough.
Or earned. They think they've earned this karma, or they've burned it. This dharma and karma.
They've burned it up, and that it's done. They think, okay, I made it through that passage. The karma's complete. No, the karma's not complete. Because what I found is if you don't, during a challenging passage, get to the core patterns that created it, it will reappear someday, sometime in your future. And this is, all these things people don't know. And so I feel like I am almost like bringing this new knowledge to a world of children that have been under these beliefs of things that they've been told and a mythology that's just not true. And we need to wake up.
So, would you ever have a conversation with someone who believed in karma? I mean, have you ever had a conversation with the person who's like a spiritual teacher who teaches so much about karma? Have you ever met one of those people?
Yeah, for sure.
And
Well, I think I'm really good at explaining things in a way that people can understand. I'm not really here to tell people they're wrong about their beliefs.
No. I just want to know what. I mean, I just can't imagine because they don't budge. I mean, they just don't budge on their karma thing, So that's going to be kind of interesting.
I guess I've only had people that believe like that. There were clients coming to get something healed.
Oh, okay.
And so it was an enlightening process for them, because they got to see that, what I found invariably. And that's my favorite way of teaching, is taking people in and through this process, and I don't have to tell them. They get to see how this continued and where it came from, and that it didn't come from some governing board saying, okay, this is your karma you're going to have to play out in this life. It just came from subconscious patterns. I mean, it's very simple, and I made a very simple cure, and I want this to be known, and I'm so committed to getting the quest in the hands of everyone it's meant for that I actually am now completing a book on the quest, Heal Your Life, Change Your Destiny, and on August 25th, I'm actually going to be giving it to the world for free.
Where?
I'm going to start giving it for free via my website, and I want people to go on my website and sign up for the newsletter so that when I send out the notice, people can go on and get it for free. They can
Download it?
They can download the ebook for free, but I also want to make the book available for free too, so they can have a tangible book. So if they will
That's
help
great, yeah.
with shipping and handling, then I will send them the book for free, because I know what it's like to have a book by your bedside, a treasure book, not just the ebook. So,
I was going to say, those, I don't like those, I don't like downloading people.
it's hard to get to those, and maybe someday when we're all running around with our Kindle things, and
I have a daughter who loves her.
technology.
Yeah, she loves her Kindle. I don't. I still like to touch a book, and it's bulky.
Hold it.
And to some people it's bulky. To me, it's not. I like it. I don't know. I just like the feel of a book. I just do.
Right. Yeah, there's something really wonderful about it, and that's why I'm excited. I'm excited to gift this to people all over the world, to get it into prisons, to safe houses for abused women, into rehab centers and youth at-risk camps. And
now they can get this book.
Programs.
When they get this book, they can, by reading this book, they'll be able to heal themselves?
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be able to understand what I'm telling you and what I found and how to distinguish when they're being operated by their subconscious, or what you call the shadow, or whether it's their authentic self, so they can start becoming aware how to be in your positive, proactive self most of the time. People want to do this today because we're dealing with a lot of challenges. So the more we're positive and proactive, the more we're going to have creative solutions and make the best decisions for ourselves and, do wise choices.
Let me ask you something, Doctor. Right, go ahead.
Yeah, we do. We don't want to be driven and under fear and upsets and stress. We don't make good decisions. So it behooves us to, clean up that, get right to our session within 48 hours. I created it in a very easy journaling process. It takes journaling to a whole other level, so a deeper level, so you don't just pour out how you feel, but then you start identifying that part of you that feels that way and actually take it through the 7 steps. People can do this very quickly. My son, who I trained in it from the time he was 16, he could do them in 20 minutes. I do it fast, and other people might want to take a little bit of time and write it out, of the depths and really get to the core of it. But it's so simple. I've tried it out in a model chapter I did where I took it into high schools and took the teens and their teachers through, and I've had adults doing it, and anyone can do it. It's very simple.
Wow. So, and every time you take this, you've done your own testing, which is very impressive. So.
And I have to use it on myself all the time. I mean, it is my saving grace, I tell you. I've been through so many challenging things in this life, and it literally drove me to find a way like this, and it drove me to develop this. And I use it. I live it.
Why give it away are you going to be making a movie? Why would you give it away? I mean, you're making a movie of this? What's going on? I mean, you just want to be generous to the world?
Because I don't want to wait till I'm on Oprah and famous. I want people to have it now. I mean, I guess I'm a sensitive person, and I feel like I can feel people suffering, and, this thing with the flu now gearing up, and we've just been through a huge economic crash, and it's scary for people, and I want people to have it now. I don't want to wait till Oprah finally gets me on there. I was hoping she'd get me on there this year, and my dream is to take her through the 7 steps and show people all over the world how fast you can resolve your issues and heal.
You think she has issues? Why would you take? She doesn't think she has issues.
I think Oprah knows she does. I think that's why. I mean, we all do, because we all
does,
on this inherent programming. We were born, of course, innocent, but then we took on our family patterns and societal patterns, and she's had hardships. When you have hardships, that means your subconscious is activated and your subconscious is running. So
well, let me tell you. Let me ask.
Weight problem or anything, it's your subconscious.
Yeah, well, people don't think of Oprah as having too many problems, unfortunately, for Oprah and for the book. So I think, let me ask you, if you put this book out and everybody were to, get it for free and start working on it, is your hope that the planet changes for your son, for yourself, for what? I mean, do you think the planet has a chance?
I do think that. I think that because there's millions of people that really care about the planet, that are really care to find out what their soul purpose is, what their true, purpose is, and that are tending to their inner worlds, and wanting to make positive changes, I do think we could be moving into a positive world. A lot of things are happening, and I think if there was just one TV show that had the good news and we could be hearing every day and all these things, like, oh, this person over here and this group has implemented this, and these ones have a new invention, and this group is helping, Africa. If we could be tuning in every day to all these amazing things these millions of people are doing every day, I think everyone would feel positive about our future. And that's my hope for this book, too, because I share a lot of stories in there, and stories of people having huge life changes and big healings and even mystical experiences that change their lives, and even add in some fun things like dolphin encounters and whale encounters that were life-changing. And it's a book of hope, for the world. And I truly believe that if only we all knew this was going on, and I guess that's why I wrote the book. And I'm going to continue to be writing more books in this series and bring out more of this understanding and knowledge and the positive aspects that are going on, so that people can, align with it and see that it is really going on.
All right, so you're trying to go out and promote this, so we'll be promoting this book is for free. And if you had one last thing to tell us all before we wrap up and tell them where they can get the book, what would you like everyone to know?
Well, I think for the Earth 2012 books, you can find them on Amazon or a bookstore anywhere in the world. For the Quest book, I am working out how to implement this and streamline it. And so you would go through my website. So you can look under my website, www.aurorajuliana with one N, Ariel.com. And on the right, when you open it up, you'll see the sign up for my updates. And if you get on the mailing list, then it'll be available to you. You'll receive the notice that goes out that
Is the book done?
says it's free and how to, click on the link to get to the page to order it.
Is the book finished?
The book is almost done now, yeah. I'm just wrapping it up and getting in its beautiful template and getting it ready.
Is your name really, that's a lot of angel names in one name.
Oh, I'm Italian, Aurora, and my dad's name was Julian, and my middle name is Juliana.
And Ariel's
unfortunately has a lot of Disney.
No, Ariel is, there's Uriel, and I mean, it sounds very archangelish, your name,
Yeah, some people think it's Jewish, but it's not. I'm Italian.
No, I was just thinking about the angelic part of all that. It seemed very like, archangelish kind of names, It's like, I didn't think Disney or Jewish. I just thought, boy, that's a lot of angel names all in one name. Did she give herself that name?
Ariel, I think in Disney was the Little Mermaid.
The mermaid, yeah. yeah.
Under the sea. I guess that is like me. I'm like under the sea, but under the emotional sea, getting into the psyche of humanity, and that's been my quest in love. And I would just want to say that for everybody it's meant for, I hope people will spread the word, and that my life's work, the quest, can get into hands of everybody on the planet who wants it, who needs it, and that it can make a difference in all the lives. And this has been my life's work. I'm very passionate about it and excited to bring it out.
You've got a lot of great reviews here from all the major the publishers, and all kinds of major famous names. And if you want to name them, do you want me to name them? Why don't you just tell some of them? I mean, you've got awards like crazy over this book, and they say things like, "Thank you for the book. This is a beautiful and elegant book." And Mark, an artist, and Dr. somebody else, and let's see, who was it? We love your book so much. What was the big book? Earth. I'm absolutely.
I think like Jack Canfield really assisted me with the Earth 2012 series, and of course he's had the Quest session before, and
who has?
He endorsed Jack Canfield.
Oh yeah.
The author of Chicken Soup for the Soul.
And there's a lot of Chicken Soup for the Soul people on here, and there's also a big Barnes and Noble customer review. They rated you 5 stars. Such a wonderful piece of work. I'm eager to see more from this writer. I mean, just there's a lot of stuff you can go on. People can go on your site and see this, right? Right?
Yeah, there's the reviews and everything on my site, and Yeah, I'm very heartened. I was so excited to win the 2009 Visionary Award in the summer, for book one, because, like I said, I put so much into that book. It's a very comprehensive book, and it's a unique perspective on this historic passage in time in 2012, and it really brings a remedy for humanity and an understanding for humanity because people don't understand why. Why does the world look like it does, and why, when we want peace and happiness, why do we get something so much less? And I demystify all that and demystify the psyche. So
Okay.
I'm so excited. And Jack really helped me for a year on the series. He was going to co-author it at one time, and we worked a year with a publisher over here in Maui, and who then just didn't give us the advance offer that warranted Jack's participation. But for me, it's great. There was more pieces to that puzzle. There's more that had to go into the book. The quest really had to be put in, and when Jack and I were working together on it in 2004, it wasn't ready yet, and so...
Well, it seems to be ready now because there are pages and pages of good reviews, which I suggest you go to the site and look at. I was reading some of them as you're telling people, so I think it's really great, and looking forward to the new book, the book that you're going to give us all, so we can...
Free.
Yeah, I mean, everything free is great, right? But it's not really so much as free as it has the information that you want us to know. I'm sure people would pay for it, but it sounds like it's a...
Well, it'll go through normal channels, too, just so it reaches, because in my normal channels with my printers and my distributors, I want it to get all over the world, but then I want everyone that needs it and
To
wants
hear
to
it,
have
yeah.
it, they can have it for free.
That's great.
I don't want anyone to be denied it or to feel they can't have it, and so... And it's a joy for me to give it away for free, too. So
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully,
Really exciting.
hopefully all people will click on and get it. I hope a lot of people, because I'm going to get it for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, because it was very enlightening, and I guess I'll be looking forward to the quest. I'm going to see if I can break some of my bad habits. God knows there's enough of them to start with. The journaling, I'll look at the whole book. But, and you're in California and Hawaii, both places, right?
No, I'm actually work out of Maui, Hawaii, and travel from here.
So you just happen to be in California today?
No, it's a Vonage number that I use.
Oh, so you're in you're in Hawaii?
Yeah, I can use it anywhere in the world.
Oh my gosh,
it's
so-
helpful when I am working with my students and stuff.
Oh my gosh, no wonder. The girls kept saying, she kept asking. Okay, so now I get it. So who knew? The doc was calling us. The doctor is calling us
From
Hawaii.
Maui, from beautiful island of Maui.
All right. Well, thank you so much, especially for all the information. And everybody go to the website. The name of the website again is?
www.aurorajulianaariel.com, and people can actually Google my name too, and you'll go to even the company AOS's website, the Institute website, and you'll find out more about the music CDs I've just released and some other products.
Okay, and it's Earth 2012, right?
Yeah, the book series is called Earth 2012, and the new book is The Quest, Heal Your Life, Change Your Destiny.
Okay, there you go. Well, I thank you, Doctor. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, take care.